These high-income earners and these high-income earners all agree high-income earners deserve a break.
Berkey's right on this.
The tax system is staggered, so the more you earn, the more you pay. But the Stage 3 tax cuts would flatten things right out by abolishing a middle bracket, putting people on 45 grand and 200 grand into the one mega bracket with the same marginal rate. That'll take $243 billion out of the budget and put it back in wealthy pockets over the next decade. And working women get a particularly raw deal. Only a third of those savings will go. The rest, $160 billion, or two-thirds, will go. All for one simple reason. There are heaps more rich blokes than women.
It is completely ridiculous that we would design a tax system that is so overwhelmingly meant for rich men rather than for the most needy in our society. We have a lot of wage inequality in this country, and so this will just add to that inequality.
Labor sees tax reform and the gender pay gap as two separate issues.
The answer to that's not do you give a tax cut or not, it's to act on pay equity.
Labor always backed stages 1 and 2 of the tax cuts, which gave relief to low and middle income earners. And because the coalition made their tax cuts an all or nothing affair, Labor reluctantly supported the lot, despite misgivings about stage 3.
It is really just a triumph of hope over economic reality.
We don't know what the economy will be doing. We don't know what the fiscal circumstances will be.
Next minute, circumstances went from this...
The budget is back in the black and Australia is back on track.
...to this.
The economy has changed significantly since these tax cuts were legislated. We are now fighting inflation. The Reserve Bank is raising interest rates to try and slow the economy down. The last thing we need is more stimulus.
But after winning an election in which they promised not to touch the tax cuts, which are already legislated, by the way, Labor's a bit boxed in.
We made clear that we believe people should have certainty, and we'd opposed them at the time that they went through the Parliament, but we said once they were in, we were going to leave it.
Monique Ryan is the independent member for Kooyong. Monique, you join us now. Why are the Stage 3 tax cuts
Georgie, sorry.
Yeah.
Can I ask a football question first?
I mean, it seems unruly, but OK.
Dr. Ryan, firstly, welcome to the show. I can see you are wearing a Carlton top. They got beaten by...
Thank you very much.
My team, Collingwood, by 1 point, and now their season is over. So what's the most painful part of your life at the moment? Is it politics or football?
Definitely football, Tommy. It's been a brutal couple of weeks for Carlton supporters. It's going to take us a long time to get over this, I'm afraid.
OK, well, now we've got over the fun stuff. Let's crack on with this tax chat.
Thank you, Tommy. Dr. Ryan, thank you. Thank you for entertaining Tommy there. But why are the Stage 3 tax cuts such a bad idea?
Well, look, I think the problem is at this point that many Australians are dealing with cost of living pressures, which are pretty extreme. And the best thing to do at this point is to give those people extra assistance, not to give tax cuts to people in the really higher income brackets who won't benefit to the same extent and probably are less likely to put that money straight back into the economy.
It's not just the fact, though, that these tax cuts are already legislated. The government that is now the government went to the election promising to keep them if they won. Don't you want governments to keep promises rather than go back on them?
I think that what we want is a government that will do the best thing for people based on the circumstances that it encounters at the time. When we have a budget which is $1 trillion in deficit, the best thing to do is not to give tax cuts to the highest income earners and to flatten out our tax system. A better thing to do would be to restructure the tax system and give more assistance to those people who are lower income earners and who are struggling.
But so do you see that then as justification for the government to say, actually, we got here, it's a bit different, looks worse than it was beforehand, therefore we're justified in scrapping everything we said before the election? You think that's an acceptable thing for a government to do?
I think what the government could do is come up with an alternative strategy. Maybe it's slowing things down, maybe it's restructuring things so that not all people get these tax cuts immediately. We've seen people in the lower tax brackets lose some of the taxation assistance they've been receiving in the last 12 months. I think people would respect a government that looked at the current situation and adapted its responses to things based on how things are going in the economy now. You know, the nice thing about being in government is that you can legislate changes to things like the tax system. the current government is not locked into the changes that have been legislated in the past. They're not actually going to be enacted until 2024 anyway, so we do have time for a rethink about this.
So then why make these changes because of the current economic circumstances? If, as you say,
yes,
it's
because
a few years
exactly, or exactly because of the current economic circumstances, many people are really struggling. You know, with the cost of living pressures, the significant inflation that we've seen, people need help now, and they need a bit more assistance in the lower wage brackets in particular.
Monique, Kooyong's a pretty posh seat, sorry to use a technical term there, but plenty of your constituents will benefit from these cuts. Are you getting any blowback?
I think that the people, the many people in Kooyong who are finding it hard, actually. So the perception that it's a posh electorate where everyone's wealthy is misplaced, to be honest. But also the people of Kooyong want the best thing for the economy of Australia, and they know that the best thing is for everyone to be doing well rather than for the highest income earners to benefit disproportionately from any change to our taxation system.
Monique, thank you very much for chatting to us. Commiserations again, and if I could just push you, if you had to go for one team that's still in the race for the flag, who would it be now?
Oh. Not Collingwood. Anyone but Collingwood.
Yeah, that seems fair. Monique Ryan, thank you.